All evidence shows is pointing United States government did this. It's nothing to do with Islam. I'm a Muslim. I am not a terrorist. If Islam supported terrorism, I would not have entered Islam. I would not have done that. And here comes the FBI and they put a gag order on them. If you talk about this to the media, to anybody, you will go to jail. Oh, I was angry at my government. I didn't have Indonesian nationality at that time. And I was really angry at the United States. And I'm ready to declare war. And I did declare war on the United States when I wrote that book.
How many books did you write about 9/11?
The book on 911, and then the shadow government. And then I had to write a book on the Illuminati, which was Bayang-Bayang Gurita. Napoleon wants to stop riba in Europa. Now we get into the big Illuminati family, Rothschild family. Very, very, very evil family. And I'll say it on the podcast, I don't care. And I know they're going to see this, and I don't care.
Yeah, we're going to go into that as well. But you've told us about how you've embraced Islam and then the stories within the process of you embracing Islam. Now, we know that you've written some books, and then we know that you have a certain interest about 9/11. So, can you tell me a little bit? So, how many books that you've written so far?
I am presently writing book number 14.
Number 14, mashallah.
I stopped for quite a few years. A lot of problems. My books are mostly, not all, are mostly controversial, making certain parties angry. Yeah. So I had a lot of problems and difficulties, and then in Indonesia to get these published anymore. The publisher, I had a good publisher, but to get them distributed where you can sell them in the bookstore start refusing my books.
I see.
But with the book, I'm not a book writer. I am now. So I wrote 14 books. But with the book 911, The Real Truth, I'm ex-Air Force. All I did was work on aircraft. I'm a certified I have an international rating on for servicing and repairing aircraft also that I got from a schooling at nighttime. I know a lot about airplanes. And when I was watching the news, pictures, articles on the events of 911, what? You know, I was just seeing unbelievable things. Yeah. And then oh my God, this is not right, you know, and because I'm Muslim. And within just a few days, they're already blaming the Muslim. And they're blaming Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden's brother was my dive buddy in Saudi Arabia. Right. He had a nice boat. He had a really nice boat. And he took me a few times diving at a really good location, yeah. And I mean, he's no terrorist, you know. They're just a very rich family that has maybe too much money. Yeah, they do have too much money. I don't believe anybody should have that much, you know, but still, I mean, the family is many children, yeah? And then here comes Osama bin Laden, and I'm just like, better not let anybody know I know his brother, you know, I'm just like, and so I just started saving you know, information because I was stealing videos from news sites. I was actually, I learned how to take video. You can't download it, but I could get it anyway. And if I couldn't get it that way, I would screen record it. I would just play the whole 2-hour video and then screen record the whole thing if I had to, but I had to just get it and just started saving and saving and saving. Wow, this is a lot. And then I can even make a book out of this, you know. And I was looking at this, and it's all evidence is pointing United States government did this. United States government did this. It's nothing to do with Islam. I'm a Muslim. I am not a terrorist. If Islam supported terrorism, I would not have entered Islam. I would not have done that.
So there was not even a second that you believed that 9/11 was done by the Osama bin Laden.
Well, I was wondering.
When you first heard the news.
The first thing is, how could he do that?
How could he do? Because you know about his family, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of money, and they're on the family's on good relation with the United States government. Also, you know, the George Bush family even brings these people, you know, to their homes. You know, the higher up elite Saudis. You know, and on 9/11, all airports are closed. But there's a link based on the news that the Saudis are involved, and they're looking for them. Well, this Saudi family that was in Florida got special permission to fly an airplane. I think it was to, if I'm not mistaken, Denver, Colorado, where they got on a jet and flew back to Saudi Arabia. No Americans could do that, but the Saudis could. And why would you evacuate the suspects of this attack? And Amex, U.S. Air Force, how come the planes didn't shoot them down?
Yeah. That's a big question, right?
You know, you got a plane go in here and in here. And the plane that they said crashed in Pennsylvania, it didn't crash. I was, at one time, trained to be part of a crash investigation team. And I saw the evidence. This plane didn't crash. And at that time, you don't have, you know, satellite communications like you have now. You can use your laptop and WhatsApp inside the airplane, you know. They didn't have that back then. And when you're flying, you have cell towers, and you're flying really, really high. There's no cell signal. And even if you can get the signal, by the time this transponder picked you up, you're already at the next tower, and you're already at the next tower. So there's no way that you can go, Ibu, I'm in the plane, we're having a terrorist attack. And I'm just going, what? You know, how did they do that, you know? And I was looking at it, and if you see in Pennsylvania, the evidence, the wreckage goes for a couple kilometers. It's spread over a couple kilometers. That can't happen from crashing into the ground. It's impossible. No way. This thing blew up in the air, and it just, you know, it had its forward momentum, boom, and it all spread out like that. It was an enormous explosion.
So the wreckage like spread as it blows from in the air, right?
Yeah. And, you know, the heavier objects fell closer, and the lighter objects, you know, they go further. And and there was no impact crater, yeah? And then eyewitnesses heard the sonic boom of a jet at that exact time. They even they reported it to the media that we have heard a sonic boom, you know, as it break the sound barrier. Well, passenger jets cannot fly that fast.
Yep.
That means there was a fighter jet in the area, and then witnesses had actually seen a fighter jet, which, based on their description, is a F-16. And it was flying in circles in that area. It was flying around in circles, and then it was gone. And here comes the FBI, and they put a gag order on them. If you talk about this to the media, to anybody, you will go to jail. And they don't have to go to the court. They will go to jail. So I'm just, I wonder why they're being so quiet about this. So, yeah, when I put everything together, the WTC towers, it's impossible. Even if 2 or 3 planes crashed into it, they say it could not have crashed to the ground. Not like that. And the fire cannot melt the steel that's used in construction of these buildings. You need a very extremely high temperature. And even if you filled the whole building up with jet engine fuel, the whole building would burn out. But you just clean it all up, paint it, put in new furniture, and it's okay. It's still strong. So this is the only thing that I can think of is thermite. And thermite is used in controlled demolition, and it's just instant super hot. Yeah, thermite bomb, something like that. And then if you look at the videos and pictures, you can see the explosion lines coming out of several floors from the WTC building before it fell. Not while it's falling, before. And then they recorded a earthquake under the building before it fell. There was an earthquake. That earthquake was the explosion of charges under the building. And then Wait-7 fell, and Wait-7 was not hit by any airplane, you know. And here's BBC News, World News, a female report. I have the video. Nobody can get me on that one. I got that video. I'm reporting with BBC News, and where the tower, WTC-7, has just fallen to the ground. And I'm just like, what? It's standing behind her. In the video, when she says it's fallen to the ground.
When she was saying that, the building is still standing, right?
Yeah, the building was still standing. So I was thinking, you know, in Indonesian terminology, they were using a dukun or a witch doctor to know the future before it happened, you know. I was just like, what is she saying? Is she on drugs, you know? And then there's another video that shows WTC-7. Now, they showed this on the news over and over and over again, but they took the audio out. But I got it while it was still had the audio. And you could hear it. You know, the people are all nervous, you know, WTC attack, you know, news reports and smoke everywhere, you know. And then here's WTC-7, you hear this boom, you know, like this, and everybody, the whole crowd reacts. They're, and straight down. And that's controlled demolition. That was an internal explosion. And then the fire department, several weeks after that, finally admitted that we initiated the controlled demolition to keep the fires under control. We brought this building to the ground too. I did my research. To perform a precise controlled demolition like that would take weeks of planning. You need the architectural drawings, you need the planning, you need to put the explosives in. That takes a long time, not 3 hours, you know. And I was angry at my government. And I didn't have Indonesian nationality at that time, not yet. And I was really angry at the United States, and I'm ready to declare war. And I did declare war on the United States when I wrote that book. You know, I made a lot of enemies, you know, when I finally did write that book. But I was very, very angry at the United States because I'm a Muslim. I am not a terrorist. And now my family is, you know, my mother, you know, how to have a good thing with her. I didn't know. I was confused, you know. It's Allah's will. And as a Muslim now, and I'm more understanding, why would Allah do such a thing? Everything that Allah does for us is good. Really, it's good. Everything is good. Even in many ways, WTC was good. It had its many good things, which I'll get to in a little bit. But Allah took away my love, my family. I have no love in the United States. Nobody loves me there. And I don't love the United States. So I don't want to live in the United States anymore. I don't like the arrogant people and the way they, you know, the racism because of Islamophobia that came from 9/11, and I love surfing, diving, fishing in Indonesia. And then you have Padang food, And then while I'm in Indonesia, I met my wife, you know, and wow, she kisses my hand, American women won't do that. That's surga di dunya, you know. The American husband goes, something like this. This is very typical in the United States. The American husband comes home and goes, "Hello, honey, I'm home. Shut up and close the door." Like that, you know. And the Muslim husband comes home, opens the door, "Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam." And then my wife, you know, she's cooking, stops cooking, runs up to me, chums my, kisses my hand. That's surga di dunya for me. That's just, I fell in love with Indonesian women, and there's no way I want to marry a Bule woman. I mean, even today, I'm afraid to the white Muslim woman. If things were to change, but I'm happy with who I have.
Yeah.
So I really became emotional. My whole life changed when I went to Saudi Arabia. My whole life changed again when I entered Islam. And then 911, when I started writing my book, I changed my whole career, everything too. I give up what I'm doing it became my jihad, informing the world.
How many books did you write about 9/11?
Well, 9/11, I wrote the main book. And then a little bit later on, a few books later, because from 9/11, I realized that America has a shadow government that is controlling the American government. So I wrote a book about that. Yeah, and then I wrote a book. Let me see if I got to keep it in order now. During my investigation of 9/11, I kept coming across the name Freemason. So I investigated Freemasons. Really, who are the Freemasons? And then when you're investigating Freemasons, here comes the Illuminati. Yeah, who are the Illuminati? And then you have these organizations, all these secret organizations. You have the Gorbachev Foundation, and the United Nations is connected to the Illuminati, and the World Health Organization is connected to the Illuminati. And I just started the IMF, who I call the Iblis Monetary Fund, is also connected to this. And then this is huge. I need 20 people, one reduxie, and 20 people to each investigating each part and putting this all together. I'm doing this by myself. And so I had these, the book on 911, and then the shadow government. And then I had to write a book on the Illuminati, which was Bayang Gurita. And that publisher went under because of, and I'm certain it's because they published that book. Yeah. Within a year and a half, they were finished. And another publisher published a book of mine called Dosa Media America, the American media lies, the mainstream media, how they lie. He also went under within 1 year or a year and a half, and that was a bestseller book. Boom, he's finished. So then I wrote, because Bayang Gurita wasn't out, and it talks about the Illuminati and their mission, and I have updated information on 911 because now I have the reports from the architects and from engineers, and more than 1,000 have signed a statement that those buildings came down under controlled demolition. And then I have a scientist who found the molecules, I was talking about thermite. The thermite molecules are in the dust all around there. And then he shows his scientific evidence. So I wrote another book. It's called, and it's still available today, called Art of Deception.
Yes,
yeah?
The Art of Deception.
And it starts with 911. And a lot of data that was in the first 911 book, like the name of all the passengers on the planes, I didn't put that in there. But yeah, this what was the evidence on who was behind this, And so I have 911 again, and then I get into Illuminati and Freemasons, and why are they all doing this? And the whole foundation of all of this is religion. All of it. Everything happening today. What's happening in Palestine is religion. What's been happening from before World War I, World War II, go back to Napoleon. It's all religion.
Which religion do you mean? Goes back to the religion, but which religion? Can you elaborate that?
Okay, if we go back to Napoleon, he was a Muslim. His name's Ali. Yeah, his name's Ali. His right-hand general wife was a descendant of the wife of Rasulullah. And Napoleon wants to stop riba in Europa. Now we get into the big Illuminati family, Rothschild family, Very, very, very evil family, and I'll say it on the podcast. I don't care, and I know they're going to see this, and I don't care. They already know I hate them so bad. So from my books that I wrote, I talk about them. But the Rothschild family spread lies, and they caused the war that caused the Rothschild family, banking sector, and Napoleon wants to end riba in Europe. It's not allowed in Islam. And it's very bad, riba, yeah? So look at anybody who gets into trouble with their card to credit and they can't pay their bill. Then they know how bad it is, you know? So the Freemasons from England also got together with the Rothschild family, and then, you know, Napoleon fell, and history is written by the victor, not the one who loses the war.
Indeed.
So a lot of these facts were not put into, but if you can dig into it, and there are some data. There is some data on it.
Probably this can be also information for the viewers, right? That I read the play by Shakespeare called Merchant of Venice, where it tells about the story of a Jewish person who is dealing in usury, riba, right? And then it's actually really shows that back then in Europe, the riba is starting to control the people there, right? And then the people back then didn't really accept the Jews with the concept of the riba, right? And then they really fought it. That's why I remember that, because it really connects with your story about Napoleon, right? And I can see the connection why people actually trying to fight the riba back then, right?
Yeah, it's. I don't smile like I used to. I like joking, saying jokes, smiling, having fun. You can ask anybody around me. I don't smile very much anymore. You know, not like I used to. I'm just everywhere I go. You know, even I come to Indonesia, and I don't speak Indonesian hardly at all. But the mosques, once they found out I was Muslim, during Ramadan, a lot of even Ichmi during the time of Suharto. When Habibie was the head of Ichmi, I was invited during Ramadan, buka puasa sama-sama, and why I entered Islam, And I've had hundreds of invitations, why I entered Islam, and then just jumping over a little bit, and then the Indonesians would always say, "Bule itu dapat hidayah, dia dapat hidayah," and I was just like, why is this hidayah such a big issue? But once you realize, I have goosebumps. Even now, I just thinking about it, I have goosebumps. That is a very, very special blessing from Allah. Yes. Not everybody gets it. And when you get hidayah, it doesn't end. Okay, Jerry entered Islam, that's it. Oh no, it goes until I die. It won't stop. If I going on, no, Allah will just beat me to death. I have to follow the path of Him, and inshallah now I'm enough. I'm willing enough. So in Islam, riba is not allowed, and Napoleon tried to stop it, and look what happened to him. Yeah.
Maybe let's go back to 9/11. You say there are lots of conspiracy and then the work of the media. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit. Why does the media want to portray Islam as an evil religion? What are their agenda? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, who owns American media? Zionists.
I see. Okay.
Not all Zionists are Jews.
Not all Zionists are Jews.
Okay. But the Jews, Zionists, either one, they own all mainstream media in America. And they're very opinionated. I worked as a freelance journalist also. When I was a Marine Resort I was a marine resort consultant at one time in Indonesia, making films, photos underwater. And when we came into the riots in 1998, the CNBC Asia said, "Can you get footage on the street for me?" And I was out of work because tourism was destroyed. I was destroyed, and so I know the etica of journalism, and all information you have to confirm it first, and like here's a very good example. I remember this one. The Pentagon was hit by an airplane, and the Pentagon gave that information to the Washington Post. Washington Post. And they printed that lie without confirming whether it was true or not. Because, please forgive me for my language, but even an idiot, if you look, how does this big jetliner, I think it was a 737, right around that size, how does this big jetliner fly down and do maneuvers like a fighter jet, and it goes whoop, 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 and goes straight down and hits the strongest side of the Pentagon. The strongest side. It's even under renovation. They're making it more and more stronger, the walls, each segment of the Pentagon. And if you look at the Associated Press took pictures of the Pentagon, from the highway, right after the accident happened. And I tried to get copies, because Associated Press, they sell pictures, videos, media for the whole world. I tried to get those pictures for my book. They wouldn't sell them to me, and they threatened me.
Why?
So you can't put them in the book because they're copyrighted. Why don't you want it in my book? Why won't you sell it to me? I want to buy it. I had to contact Associated Press here, who referred me to United States, who referred me to Japan, and they said, no, you can't have it. So, but look at the pictures. I have the pictures. I took the pictures. I got the pictures. You can look right at them. From the highway, here in front of the Pentagon, this is all open area, and then here you have the Pentagon over here. But all these light poles, Bahasa Indonesia, tiang-tiang lampu, so many light poles. In this, how does this really big jetliner come in and go at this low level and hit the Pentagon from the side and never hit one single light pole? The G forces that they would have had to have pulled to have gone straight down like this and then just go like that. There is no airplane made by the United States that can do that even today. To pull that kind of G force, that would kill everybody in the plane anyway. Well, whoever was in that plane died anyway. But it wasn't a plane, because you have to look at the whole. You have to look at I have the video of the Pentagon collapsing before it collapsed. I have that video also. It's just a hole. Where is the damage from the wings? Yeah? Where is the damage from the tail?
It's like only the damage from the fuselage, right?
Yeah, it's a very, I don't want to say on the podcast exactly how wide the hole was, because I would have to look at my data. I'm afraid I'll say something wrong. But it's much, much smaller than this airplane. So did the plane, all of its wings fold in? They just folded in like that and went into the Pentagon? And then it went through not one, but 6 steel reinforced walls. These jetliners have a soft nose. Normally the radar dome in the front is made out of fiberglass. Very soft. It's impossible that this thing could have went through it. Only something with a very strong steel head could go through that. And then here's the smoking gun. Right in front of the Pentagon. And then Washington Post says, oh, this was an airplane, but definitely an airplane, And how can Washington Post be saying what the Pentagon gave this information to them, but the Washington Post doesn't confirm it first? They could have said an alleged aircraft or something like that. It's been reported to us, but they didn't say it was a Boeing. They even knew the genus of the plane. It's like 3 days after this, they knew Osama bin Laden and Islam was involved in this. I'm just, all my radars are just going wing, wing, wing. What hit the Pentagon was not an airplane. It went through 6 steel reinforced walls. And the wall that was hit is under renovation. There was almost nobody there. They killed almost nobody. And the people that did die, from what I understand, I think there was 10 or 12 people that died, is from smoke inhalation. The compartments were filled with smoke and they suffocated and they died. But in front of the Pentagon, now I work on airplanes, there's a rotor. When you get on you're going on an airplane, and you look inside the jet engine and you have this round rotor. Sometimes you can see it spinning, in the plane while it's in idle. They have a rotor sitting on the ground. And they said this is a Boeing 737. I think it was 737. It was the size of that caliber size, And, a jet engine of that size, I can stand inside of it and touch the top. I have to. I can stand inside of it.
So big.
It's so big. This one is only about this big. Okay. The rotor, and I have a size comparison. There's a fireman standing right beside it.
Okay.
And it's only about this big. That was not a jet that hit. That was a cruise missile. And Osama bin Laden does not own cruise missiles. And then a couple of weeks, and then shortly thereafter, you see all these men in black suits and jackets out there collecting debris out there. How come it's so important that these guys are collecting all this debris out there? What are they collecting? And then once they're finished, here comes the trucks, dump trucks. And I have the pictures of the dump trucks dumping layers and layers of rock and soil all over that land. But the field in front of the Pentagon wasn't damaged from the explosion. You just pick up the aircraft parts and that's it, Why are they covering it all? Because, and it just makes sense, it's just logical. They use a cruise missile, there's residue there. All I have to do is go there and grab some grass and take it to the laboratory, and I can prove the explosive that was used to blow that up. So they cover up the evidence. There's a cover-up. And then the media is too fast to blame Islam, too fast to blame Osama bin Laden. Yeah? And they created Islamophobia. And so the Americans, of course, are angry. And they don't know better. They're trusting the media, and they start attacking Islamic centers. They're ripping jillabobs off people. And even a lot of Muslim women remove their jilbabs, and just to stay out of trouble, And so this started. Islamophobia started all over the world. And since the American people are shocked and they're angry, and the media and the American government says, Osama bin Laden, Islam, Osama bin Laden, Osama bin Laden, and they gave one ultimatum to Afghanistan. Give us Osama bin Laden right now. And they didn't. And then they attacked Afghanistan. But what does Iraq have to do with that? What did Libya have to do with that, and these other countries, So, again, 911, the real truth. I don't want to stand in front of Allah, and he says, I gave you all the evidence and the way. Why didn't you show the people? I don't want to be that person. I want to be. But, I was terrorized after that. I'm certain I was put on the FBI terrorist watch list. I'm certain of that. Anybody at that time that spoke out against the U.S. government, you're considered radical and you need to be watched. And if you look at today, last year, the FBI closed the case on all the masjids in the United States. They had agents in the mosque. They had cameras watching every masjid. And the FBI concluded last year that Islam is the safest, most peaceful religion in the world. We are not terrorists.
No longer that image, yeah. But yeah, mashallah, it's very insightful information that you give us there. And then, yeah, probably we have to know what is it that we can do as a Muslim, with the narratives and then the bad images that the Western media has given to Islam. But yeah, 9/11 has been 23 years ago, right? And lots of things has changed. You tell us about that. Now they already tell that Islam is the safest religion. Now, what is it that we can do as a Muslim, in your opinion? What is it for us Muslims, the thing that we can do to go fight the negative narratives, especially blown out by the Western media? What is it that we can do?
Well, the first thing, the biggest problem I've noticed with Islam since I became a Muslim is Muslims are not united. I mean, look at Palestine, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. They're just letting it happen. Oh, no, it's haram. You shouldn't do that. In Islam, it's already mandatory jihad. You have to go and fight and save them. They won't do that. I have lots of money. I don't want to disturb that. So this is a really big problem right now. You've got these people with Islamic identity, but they're not following Islam. The Muslims have to unite. Look what happened with Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he finally took over Mecca. Did he shoot an arrow? Did he stab anybody? Did he kill anybody?
No.
It's just this massive amount of people came into Mecca and they just let them come in because they're all united. Islam, the Muslims have to unite, but they have to follow their religion and stop following what's against the religion, like the riba, and accepting, in the medical, the vaccines that have haram ingredients in it, we always have to put our faith in Allah. We must always trust Him. I can remember in Iowa, when I was in the United States, I was maybe 13 years old. I didn't know what Islam was, and I was watching a TV program, and these people are all in white clothing, and they're standing outside of a building. It was a mosque, I didn't know. Al-Aqsa. I didn't know what it was at that time. And they're all like this, and they're standing like this, and they're praying like this, and they're bowing down, and they're putting their hands on the ground to their Creator, And I had tears in my eyes, and I said, oh God, it is my dream that I could love you like those people love you. I still remember that. I sort of forgot about it, but when I entered Islam, I remember that. Allah accepted that. And He guided me to Him, yeah. You must have faith. Allah brought me out of a farmhouse in a remote area. To see the world, to see the Mideast, to see Indonesia, to learn. I grabbed many skills. I became a master scuba diving instructor. And I've taught, in Indonesia, almost 2,000 people how to dive here. But I'm always complaining about Muslims have to unite. This problem with Israel is nothing, just unite. Surround. Just like Rasulullah did when he went into Mecca. Surround Israel. What are they going to do? It's over. United States wants to do that to them. Why are you buying products from United States and the tax from that product is used to kill Palestinians? That alone is haram. We don't need, like in Indonesia, alhamdulillah, MOE said the product, ini from the United States is haram because it supports Israel. Anything you buy from the United States supports Israel because there's a tax, and that tax is used to buy weapons to kill Palestinian people and for the war on terror and to fight Islam. Stop supporting United States. Stop exporting everything to United States. Cut them off from the rest of the world. Let them suffer. I don't care. But the Muslims have to unite. Stop supporting products that are haram and start following the religion, yang benar, yang betul. I became so financially destroyed from writing my book. I made a lot of enemies. It was
Burned a lot of bridges. Yeah.
From 911, The Real Truth, yeah? Especially from the United States. But alhamdulillah, in Indonesia, I made a lot of friends. From the intelligence agencies, too. They knew what I was doing. Some people are very skeptical. I think that Jerry DeGray, he's CIA. He's got it. He's up to something. Watch him, But I show you the truth. You can confirm it. I don't say, believe me, you have to trust me. I always say, don't trust me. I even wrote a book with a title called Trust No One. So don't trust me either. The Muslims have to confirm everything before you believe it. Don't trust the media. The media is so full of crap and lies and propaganda and is misleading. And stop exposing your children to like Walt Disney today. Walt Disney today and Walt Disney 40 or 30 years ago is not the same.
Not the same.
They're promoting homosexuality. You don't give rights to LGBT. You don't do that. That's against humanity. That's against God. They're all sick. They're not human beings anymore. They don't have the right. What right do they have to make me more liberal? And I have to be liberal in my religion, and I have to accept what is forbidden in my religion? No. You want to be sick like that, go over in Antarctica and do your thing. I don't care. I don't care about them. But we cannot accept them, support them, give them rights. I mean, if I'm a Muslim and a gay comes into my restaurant, wants to order food, of course, welcome. I don't care. But don't start handing out pamphlets that gay is better than, like that I'm going to get, then we're going to have a big problem, But so we're living in the last days of the world. This 911, and then with the Illuminati and the coming of Dajjal is already very clear. Just look at the Hadith and then look at the world. Dajjal will step down very, very soon. At the same time will the Prophet Isa. And when the Prophet Isa steps down, it's my dream that Allah would allow me to interview him. I would love to interview him. So how is it, were you in Surga? And was the food good there? And I mean, how do you deal with all this time? And then could you see what's happening? I would love to interview him. But
so many questions. Yeah.
So many questions. But I mean, for me, it's an exciting time. It's very, very hard time, but it's very exciting because Allah has been very quiet for a long time. Now you're seeing his miracles over and over and over and over again. The Palestinians won. They can't beat them.
Yeah.
No matter what they do, they can't beat them. Yeah. You can kill and kill and kill and kill and kill with the blessings of the PBB. And why do I say with the blessings of the United Nations? Because they only talk, oh, that's not good. We don't do that. Why don't you send your peacekeeping force there? You send them to other places. You send it to Kuwait when Saddam Hussein came in there. With the blessings of the United States, it's okay, you can come in and do that because they're fighting over a piece of land that they want to transfer their oil through, and Kuwait's making trouble, and the United States, it's okay, but soon you come in, what are you doing? Kurang ajar, like that. And it becomes a really, you can't trust the United States. Anything United States. United States is very happy. They should be very happy I'm not the president of Indonesia. I am serious. I would cut every single relation with them, every contract, every business, Freeport, get out of here, because their intentions are bad. They do nothing good for us. If I'm talking about Indonesia, they don't do nothing good from the world, but they take from it, and they destroy it. They attack their own people. They poison their own people. They destroy the good food of their own people. It's a very evil Illuminati, Freemason, satanic government. And they support, the supporters of Dajjal, in Bahasa Indonesia, pasukan Dajjal, they're part of it. I'm not saying the American people in general, I'm talking about the government, So, many things about the United States, I love it, I miss it, but I haven't been there since 1985. I'm not going to go back there, but I want to see the Muslims unite. And I want to, we have to not just help the people of Palestine. This is not going to stop. I warned about this in my books, and it's happening now. And Israel is going to move into Syria. Israel is going to move into Lebanon. Israel is going to take over Iraq. And they're going to go into northern Saudi Arabia too. And it's already been their plan. And they're going to do it. And we have to unite. And it's only, we're coming into the biggest holy war of all of history is coming in. The one where Rasulullah has already warned us that when the Imam Mahdi will lead this army, and you have to follow him. It's wajib. Well, I'm not saying that we all have to grab guns and start shooting and killing and no. Let's fix the religion. I believe here in Indonesia, if all the Muslims here, get rid of the corruption and just follow the religion as you're supposed to, what a wonderful country to live in.
Yep.
And one thing, do I still have time?
Yeah.
I do? Okay. I'm afraid we're on a time limit. One thing that I always believe, that I will always believe, is Indonesia, and another reason why I became Indonesian. There's many reasons I became Indonesian, but another reason is I believe Indonesia is the most important country on this planet is Indonesia. And it's the key for Islam. The Middle East, it's all boiling and everything's like that. And you got the Saudi crown prince is not even a Muslim. He's against Islam. When I was in Saudi Arabia in 1984, 85, if a woman walked out of the building not wearing kerudung, she's arrested. It's haram. But now, in Mecca you have KFC, you have Starbucks. You're allowing the Zionists to spy on the Muslims. What are you putting their businesses in the most holiest city, on the planet like that? So it's very, very disgusting what's going on. And Indonesia, holy war coming. Indonesia will be the example for the rest of the world follow. I'm certain of that. Eventually, the patience and tolerance of the Indonesian people. And even during this war on terrorism, and many Muslims want to fight, because of the Islamophobia and the lies and the fitna, they want to fight. I'm angry inside, But the ustads here say, put your faith and your trust into Allah. Don't do what they're trying to get you to do. You go and you shoot and you kill that person, they're just going to make Islam look even worse again, There's a lot of Islam, a lot of good Islam in Indonesia, good teachings in Indonesia, and the Pesantrens that hadn't done anything wrong, they support terrorism, We have to face it. It's hari-hari akar dunya. It's the will of Allah. It's Allah's will. Everything that's happening has to happen the way it happens. We have to be patient, but within ourselves, we must follow Islam correctly. You're not a fanatic if you follow Islam correctly. Why do you have a cartu credit? It's haram. You're using riba. Don't support riba. You don't have to drink Coca-Cola. Here in Indonesia, we have teh botol. Yeah. You don't have to be afraid of United States. I mean, there was an iklan on TV I liked here in Indonesia. It says, so many people are afraid of the mighty power of the United States, but in Indonesia you have shampoo clear. Siapa takut?
Siapa takut?
I like that. Don't be afraid. Allah is with us. I wrote the book 911, The Real Truth, and I took on all of the United States, all of the intelligence agencies. When I was launching my book at Wali Songo, there were generals there, anti-terrorists there, police there, every intel person you can think of there, the whole store, parking lot, the street, all the way down. I was shaking when I went in there. I was the most afraid I've ever been in my life when I launched that book. I had to do it. And I believed that Allah would protect me. And if it was my time to die, surga. Mau apa lagi? Inshallah, all the people in Palestine, surga. Inshallah, every single one that dies here gets surga, And Yang Penting for us is not this world. Yang Penting, we go to paradise and we all meet in a place where everybody's happy. So if my message to all the Muslims, of course, we have to unite, but we have to follow Islam correctly. And stop following the gaya or the trend, You'll see an artist on TV, she covers her head, supermodel, but here is not covered. She's wearing skin tight, real thin, and her ankles are not covered. And that's not Islam. So we have to be careful. So we have to read the Quran, we have to read the Hadith, and learn our religion ourselves, make sure we follow it correctly. And I'm sure, inshallah, Allah will guide us all.
Okay, thank you, Pak Jerry, for your story. Masya Allah, it's an amazing story. And then untuk teman-teman, kita sudah dengar tadi kisah dan cerita dari Pak Jerry, mulai dari dia sebelum dia menjadi Muslim dan kemudian dia menjadi Muslim, dan semua kisah-kisah khususnya tentang 9/11 tadi ya. Dan intinya menurut beliau bahwa kita sebagai Muslim untuk bisa menjalankan agama kita lebih baik lagi, menjadi Muslim yang lebih baik lagi, dan mungkin kita juga bisa bersikap lebih baik dalam hal berdagang misalnya seperti itu ya. Dan ada banyak hal lagi yang beliau tadi sudah sampaikan juga terkait dengan 9/11 dan kondisi dunia saat ini. Dan semoga Allah mudahkan untuk kita semua. Dan terima kasih sekali lagi Pak Jerry. Sampai jumpa lain kali. Dan demikian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.